Looking into counseling a minor, I found that because a child cannot legally consent to treatment, parents often have to act as a personal representative for their child. Most children do not have a legal right to privacy from their parents, as a parent may need certain information in order to consent to treatment. A parent generally has the right to request a child's medical record. This may include a child's diagnosis, their symptoms, and treatment plan. However, a parent does not have the right to view treatment notes unless a court would order otherwise. In the state of Missouri, in regards to informed consent of a minor, I've discovered that a minor shall be qualified and competent to obtain their own medical care if the minor is 16 or 17 years of age, if the minor is homeless or a victim of domestic violence, if the minor is self-supporting, meaning that the minor is without physical or financial support of a parent or legal guardian, or if a minor's parent or legal guardian has consented to the minor living independently of their control. As a director of Christian education, I find that most of the parents and youth that I work with love and care for their children. They want to be involved in their children's lives and know what is going on with them so that they can help them through any of the troubles or issues that they may face. I do think it is important, though, that we examine if parents have a right to know everything about their adolescent child's health and lifestyle practices. I mean, as a loving and caring parent myself, I would tend to think, yes, I should be able to know what's going on with my child. However, since we do know that there are parents who abuse, manipulate, and hurt their children, this is not always a clear and cut issue. A counselor may at times have to keep information from a parent in order to protect a child from further abuse. In my own situation, typically the teenagers that I work with, I find they want to control their own lives. They want privacy from their parents. They don't want their parents to know everything that's going on with them. And I find that usually when teenagers are doing well, making good choices, maybe only having few minor issues, parents feel really confident about the well-being of their children. They tend to loosen the reins and they give them more freedom. They may not feel as if they need to always know everything that's going on with their child or always check up with them. However, when that is not the case, when there is a need for counseling or therapy, when there are significant issues or changes in a teenager's life, my experience then with parents is that they feel out of the loop and they grasp for anything and everything so that they can garner some type of control. Parents sometimes have a difficult time trusting a counselor with their child's life and their treatment. They may want to know what is going on and being said so that they're able to help their child and make good decisions on their behalf. I think it is good for a counselor to share with parents, maybe the everyday in and out things that are going on with their children. However, here's a situation, I started thinking about this a little bit more, and it's very possible that, in my situation and in others, that a counselor may learn, let's say a teenager is starting to use, tobacco products, they're vaping. Maybe they're starting to engage in sexual activity, alcohol consumption, or drug abuse. These are details that teenagers may not want their parents to know about. However, these are risky behaviors that can potentially cause harm to a teen. In my situation, I would have parents who would want to know that their kids are engaging in these behaviors so that they could encourage their children to stop, that they may even help their child to get treatment if necessary, and even help them to find other positive outlets. With this consent issue, I see that there's really a dilemma of these two conflicting, opposing viewpoints. one, a teenager wanting freedom, wanting to keep their life details private from their parents, and then parents wanting to be a part of their child's life and wanting to know what's going on with them so that they can be connected and help them if needs arise. So my suggestion for myself and for those in a clinical situation would be that it is important for us to create a trusting environment. I think it's very beneficial after talking to the counselor in my interview and examining these issues, that really having that informed consent right away with youth, letting them know that the details that they share are private, that they're going to be kept between the counselor and the youth unless, they would be harming, or, that those issues would be harmful to a child or to someone else, or that they would be straying from a treatment plan, that, that the best would be creating an environment where kids feel comfortable sharing, that they know that not everything that they're going to say is going to go directly to their parents. At the same time, creating an environment that parents can trust you as a counselor to know that you do have their child's best interest at heart, that you are lined up with their family values, and that if there is information that their child shares that would be harmful to them or to other people or to even the family as a whole, that you'd be willing to talk with the parents and share some of that information with them. In my situation, when a teenager comes and talks to me, I immediately tell them that everything that they share is confidential unless they're hurting themselves or someone else. I find that in most of the conversations that I have with youth, there isn't self-harm. They're not at-risk behaviors. So I feel like most often I can just listen to them and, help them work through whatever it is that they are dealing with without having to involve parents. However, sometimes youth do tell me things that I think is important for them to share with their parents. So I usually try to encourage them to talk to their parents about the things that we have discussed. Depending on the family and the situation, I may offer assistance to help the youth discuss those issues with their parents if they feel like they need that extra encouragement or support. But usually, typically, teenagers go on their own and talk to their parents, and then I will follow up with them and just ask how the conversation went. In my job, I've also encountered parents who know that there are problems going on with their children. So they'll call to discuss them with me, and then sometimes they'll ask me to go and talk with their child about the situation and see whatever help I can offer. Usually in these situations, trying not to break a kid's confidentiality, I will go back to the parents and, just discuss maybe on a limited information basis, just how their child is handling the situation, how they might be feeling. But in those cases, I really try not to go into all the details, but just let them to know, like, hey, you were right. Your child is really struggling, or, they have a really good handle on the situation. Thanks for letting me know, but you can trust your child's got this and everything's going to be okay. Since my relationship with most of the parents that I work with are really good relationships, there have been times in the last 20 years of my ministry where I have found out information about a child that I really do feel that a parent needs to know. If I can, I will talk to the child about that situation and ask that we go and talk to their parent together. But there have been a few instances where I have felt that was not the right way to handle the situation. And I have, in confidence, gone and talked to the parents without giving up confidentiality. I've given them information to say, hey, I've heard that there may be some stuff going on with your child. You may want to just check in on them. You just may want to ask them if everything's okay. Maybe spend some time, talking to your kid. Usually these are not serious situations. And, the parents have been really appreciative. I've just let them know, give them the heads up that maybe there's something that is going on that they're not entirely aware of. What I never want to do, though, is go behind a youth's back. I do not want to break confidentiality. I do not want to break any trust or a relationship that we have. In a church setting, we try to create a very safe place for kids to come to be the individual that God has created them to be. I would never want anything that I would do to hurt a relationship that they would have with their church or even with their Savior. So I work really hard at making sure that I create an environment that is beneficial and safe and caring and confidential to the youth that I work with. Looking at our article in the Washington State Law, I found, two of the informed consent issues that I saw was the first one, the quote was, "Parents can now learn details about their adolescent's diagnosis and treatment for mental health problems without the teenager's consent. If the behavioral health care provider believes that sharing information will benefit treatment and not be detrimental to a teen." I really like that. I think it is important for parents to know what is going on in their child's life in regarding diagnosis and treatment plans, because in my situation, most often parents want to be supportive and helpful in the process. And the more information that they have helps them to be supportive. Since teens typically are under their parents' insurance, I think it's a great benefit for parents to know the extent of the situation, what their child is really going through, so that they can actually keep them in treatment plans, help pay for those treatments, and be as supportive as possible. I guess a parent, I would want to know if my child is going through something really traumatic and there's something that I can do to help them. I would want to know that I would not want to be disconnected from my kid. I wouldn't want somebody keeping me from them or knowing what's going on in their life, because I can't offer the support if I don't know what's going on. So that sounded really good to me. It also mentioned that parents have more say about outpatient care. They can take their teen to be evaluated and treated for a range of outpatient behavioral health care services, even if the child doesn't consent, as long as it is medically necessary. I really appreciated that Kathy Brewer, who was the mental health counselor and administrator to the Seattle Children's Psychiatric and Behavioral Medicine Clinic, said that she would rather see a resistant youth than a dead one. I completely agree with that sentiment. Sometimes teens, because of their lack of perspective, wisdom, and maturity, they don't always see how their choices affect themselves and other people. And sometimes they really need a parent to take charge of their life and get them the help that they need. I've had kids who think that cutting themselves is okay, and it's not. So having an adult figure in your life who can help you is just really crucial in those moments. And sometimes parents have to do drastic things just to save the life of their child. I mean, I wish children could always understand truly the depth and love that a parent has for them. Sometimes parents don't always make what is the best decision in the eyes of their child, but in saving their child's life, it is. I, on my end, really want to believe that parents love their children and that they really want to see them thrive. And I think in a lot of cases, probably most cases, that is the situation. My hope is that when problems arise, that families would come together for the betterment and health of their teen, and that together they would help their youth work through those problems and issues that they face, that a child wouldn't be alone dealing with them, that a family would come together to help and support. So those are my thoughts. Thanks for helping us have this conversation in looking at confidentiality issues and helping our kids in the issues that they face. Hope you have a wonderfully blessed day.